tomorrow morning I'm going on a little personal mission. We'll be going out to national forest land and doing some target shooting. There's not a whole lot of places left locally where you can do that, and so I've taken a lot of time to scout out some stuff using tools like CalTopo, of course AllTrails to make sure there's no trails around, Google Earth, etc., and many other mapping tools to kind of scope these places out. There's a lot of constraints on this little trip. My wife is pregnant and her due date is in 10 days, so baby can come anytime. So one of the things I was doing is looking at cell coverage, making sure I'm in contact at all times, or I can be in contact at all times. However, I realized with fancy new iPhones, you do have GPS, or rather satellite communication, so that'll be good. Additionally, one of the constraints I have is that, I want to be able to shoot out past 300 yards. Okay, I want to find a place that I can set up and get used to setting up there, and so I really want that to be able to go out to 1,000 yards. It's a long ways. It's half a mile, or I guess 3,000 feet, right? So over half a mile, yeah. So that's a lot of open space that you got to be able to find where there's no trails, right? You're 150 yards away from any kind of road system, at least, and of course you're shooting into an embankment, so there's a lot of constraints there. I think I found a few places. One place is kind of a grassland, but it requires a lot of vert to be able to put the targets up, probably several thousand feet of vert, maybe like 2,000, and then one place is more deserty and rocky, so I'm gonna go try that out, and I'll kind of show you what I have. Hey, Austin in post-production here. Now I'm sure you're wondering, why do all the work to go out and do this? Why not just go to a shooting range? Well, currently there's not really any local ranges that go out far enough to really practice long range shooting, not within several hours of driving from where I'm at. Number two is, you want to exercise your rights. I'll get to this later in the video, but shooting in public land is completely legal and safe if you're doing it right. And so we need to exercise those rights, because as I experienced, it really made me feel uncomfortable. I've thought someone was going to call the cops or the National Park Service or try to get me in trouble. But legally, there's no reason to feel that way. And the reason you feel that way, or I felt that way, is because we don't exercise these rights. And lastly, I just want to get away from people. Shooting ranges are really great. Having targets and stuff are awesome. But you have 10 other guns beside you going off, and you're not out in nature, right? On this trip, I saw elk, I saw deer, saw turkeys, of course, so many birds. It was just so awesome being out in nature, being alone with the Lord and His creation. So those are all reasons why you might want to get out and do this. All right, back to the video. There were a bunch of campers where I was wanting to park, and they all had their side-by-sides and stuff, and I didn't want to be intruding on them. Didn't want to be making a bunch of noise for them, so I went down the road off a off-road trail and found a spot here, and so I'm gonna see if I can hike up a bit. Might just end up going for a hike. If I see a good place to shoot, I'll see about doing that, but looks like I'm probably not gonna be able to go shooting today. There's this convenient stump here, so I'll use that to sharpen the 2x4. I was gonna drive into the ground for the target stand. I think that'll end up working. You gotta be careful with short-handed axes. If you do a big swing and a miss, hit you right in the shin rather than hit the dirt, so definitely gotta be careful. We'll see if we can pack it up here and find a good place. I'm not going to be wearing camos today. I initially thought I would, but definitely changed my mind there. Going with kind of a off-brand Safarilands. This is Safarilands mid-ride holster, but Safarilands didn't make a holster for my CZ75 PO1 compact, so. Coming from the kind of backpacking world, I don't usually have such a heavy load. You know, you're trying to always cut weight, but trying to get into hunting and stuff, definitely gotta get used to that. In case you guys are curious, we're about 8,500 feet in elevation, so no joke for sure. Heard of an animal. I did find this little valley here. Man, it's beautiful. Looks good, so I might go set some target up on that tree. Again, probably 200 yards, not getting to the 300 I was wanting, but be all right. I'll go ahead and show you guys kind of how this is gonna work. That's that. I'm really out of breath. Much bigger hill than I thought, but that's the target. So we'll see if we can get it. Always double up on Hearing Pro. Just some solid earplugs. And then I have some Sordin Supreme Pro X. Highly recommend. These are so comfortable. I have the gel pads in there. You can hear really great, and they're cheaper than Peltors, but they're waterproof, which Peltors aren't exactly waterproof. So yeah, highly recommend that. I only have about 30 minutes left, so I'm gonna have to hurry up. I have a very pregnant wife at home who I promised I'd be home by a certain time. And I gotta hike back to the car, pack all the stuff up, so we'll be moving pretty quick here. Cool. These things get like 400 hours of shooting time on 2 AA batteries. So that's pretty sweet. Bring this Thermarest. Dude, I wrap my rifle in it when I hike, and then, well, at least that's what I'm trying out right now. It's kind of my first time doing this. And you can use it to lay down on, which is super nice. Man, as thin as it is, it really helps a ton. All right, let me get it set up on target. Okay, I'm not in a super comfortable shooting position because there's a rock kind of in front of the muzzle here, so I'm having to raise up the bipod a little higher than I'd prefer. So I'm gonna estimate this guy to be almost exactly 200 yards using the ranging scale in the scope here. So I'm gonna use just a hair holdover and we'll see what we got. It's pretty much dead on. Ooh. Okay, so what's the takeaways from this trip? Well, I learned a few things. Number one, it really doesn't take a whole lot to learn to shoot, really. I know that's, if you do any research about military, sharpshooting or snipers, the shooting aspect is a very small part of the job. So I'm pleased to find out that is the case. Number two, I think if you're going to be a long-range shooter for actual hunting or defense use, as a civilian, you have a very different way of looking at things. So I'll probably in the next videos on this series of learning how to get into long-range shooting and being deadly at range, I'll go over some of those different ideologies and what that really means. Number three, well, I learned that we need to exercise our rights. And it's getting very difficult to do that. So because we don't do it enough. When I was out shooting, it felt very uncomfortable. I felt like I was looking over my shoulder, afraid that someone was gonna pop up out of somewhere and call the cops, even though I was out in the middle of nowhere, and just exercising my legal rights, doing everything very safe and proper. In my local area, there's been a bunch of controversy because people are going out and not doing this safely. And that's very frustrating. Okay, if you're one of those people going out and bringing trash and leaving it as targets to shoot, you're hurting all of us. Okay, don't do that, please. Do it all safely and responsibly. Pick up your trash, pick up your targets, bring it back home. We want to maintain these freedoms, and when you have freedoms, you have responsibility. Okay, that's just part of it. Number four is, it's a lot of work. So I really enjoy this kind of idea of going out to remote areas to go shooting. It's a lot of good exercise. If you have to hike out into the mountains, it's a lot of work, but also it's a lot of time. So those are kind of my takeaways. For a lot of the stuff, I'll probably be going to my local range. Again, my local range right now only has the right certifications to go out to about 300 yards. And they have targets out to 1,000, but right now they have the certifications for that, since those are steel targets, is different. So I'll be following up in a few different videos here, kind of talking about the ideologies and how it's different from probably military use. The civilian way to learn shooting and I think retain knowledge is different than the military way of what you need to know. And thanks for watching, and thanks for following me on this little journey as I learn to hunt and shoot long range. It'll be probably a long series as I have a new child, and so it's a lot of time to go out and do this, and money. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. I'll probably make some videos about the gear I'm using, more detailed videos about that, and like I said, the concepts of how I'm retaining knowledge with shooting amongst all the other sports I have and stuff. So there's kind of ideological differences there. So yeah, thanks for watching.